Hello there everyone, Matt here with thevirtualinstructor.com, and in this video I'm going to share with you a time lapse that was taken from a lesson series which is part of a brand new course that I'm putting together for members at thevirtualinstructor.com. This new course is called 3 Little Birds with Colored Pencils, and in this course, just as the title implies, we're creating 3 different drawings of 3 different birds using 3 different brands of colored pencils on 3 different surfaces. Now this time lapse video is taken from the first lesson series of that course where we create a drawing of a Kingfisher bird on smooth Bristol paper using Prismacolor Premier colored pencils. Now this course is set up just like our other courses, which is taking the entire process of creating the piece of artwork and then breaking it down into bite-sized chunks into little video sections. And of course, it also includes illustrated ebooks so you can take the entire process step by step and work at your own pace. Now, if you want to learn more about our membership program, all you have to do is scroll a little bit further down this page and look for the link in the description below this video, or you can click on the card in the upper right hand corner. Now again, this is a time lapse, so it's the entire process just shortened down in a short period of time. With that being said, I hope you enjoy the following time lapse video. So for this drawing, we started with a light graphite sketch using a 2H graphite pencil, taking care not to put too much pressure on the pencil to create indentations in the surface of the paper. Then once we had the basic shapes in place, we drew our contour lines, which were fairly more organic than the initial geometric shapes that we drew. Then of course, it made sense to start with the eye here with our colored pencil application, since this is a natural focal point. And you can see here that I'm layering lots of different colors to build up some complexity in the color. Now, once we had the eye and surrounding areas in place, it was time to define the pattern on the head of the bird. And with colored pencils, it's a good idea to preserve the areas where you can have lighter values. And in this particular case, I did that by actually drawing in the areas where I knew the values were going to be darker first. Then I could go in and start establishing and developing those lighter tones. And after that, we could start making some of the darker values darker in the appropriate locations. Now you'll notice that I'm using a combination of different colors to build up the so-called blacks. We didn't actually use black at all in this drawing. Instead, we used a combination of dark umber and indigo blue. And then to make the values even darker, we used 90% cool gray. This created a more natural looking black. Black, especially with colored pencils, can make a drawing look flat and unnatural if you're not careful. Then of course texture was important in this particular piece as well, so we changed our directional stroking in areas to create the illusion of those small feathers. You can see the build-up of all the different colors that we used here, especially here on the beak. We started with a bit of dark umber, and then you'll see that we're layering white, putty beige, indigo blue, poppy red, along with some other colors to build up some nice color and depth in this particular section. If you're brand new to colored pencils, your first instinct might be, well, I just need to layer some black and white in here to create the beak. But often when you do that, you find that your colored pencil applications again look unnatural, and we need some of that color even in the areas of darker value. Of course, as I mentioned before, directional stroking is especially important, and we can really see the work of that directional stroking here on the back of the head, as some of the feathers are flying their way off the back of the head. They're not leaving the head, but they do need to taper a bit to create that texture. Once we had the head in place, it was time to move on to the body, and I started in this particular case with the brightly colored orange breast. We started here with a bit of orange, and you can really see here in this particular section of the drawing where we started with lighter applications or light to medium applications, so you can still see a lot of that tooth or texture of the paper. But as we progressively layered colored pencil applications, you can see a bit of white, a bit of cream here, now poppy red, we slowly started to build up a waxy surface on the paper, and that waxy surface allowed us to go back in and add additional details. We haven't got to that point so far in this time lapse, but this particular process of working the colored pencil material into the tooth of the paper is often referred to as the process of burnishing. And you can burnish colored pencil applications using lighter colored pencils or even darker or medium value colored pencils, or you can also use a colored pencil called a colorless blender, which is basically the colored pencil binder that doesn't have any pigment in it, so it's basically just a clear pencil. In this particular drawing, I didn't need to use the colorless blender at all. I was able to burnish the applications using cream and white mostly, and then in this particular section, some of the oranges as well. But once that burnished surface was in place, it's very easy to go back over the top with a darker pencil and develop little details like smaller feathers. Then we worked our way to the right side of the body of the bird, and this is where we saw quite a bit of complexity with the feathers. So here again, I went in and established those lighter values first with a little bit of light aqua and light green. Then I could go in with indigo blue and the dark umber and establish some of those darker tones. And as I established some of those darker tones, I gave some hints of some of the texture, some of the individual smaller details on each one of the feathers. Now, this of course is a patient process. Of course, you're watching a time lapse here, which does not give you an idea of the entire time commitment it takes to create a colored pencil drawing. I would say that colored pencils is probably one of the most time intensive mediums out there because it does require quite a bit of layering. And that means that you need to be prepared to spend some time layering colored pencil applications in order to build up the depth and complexity that's required to create a colored pencil drawing that resembles a painting. Colored pencils are so readily available to everyone, I've even seen them sold at a gas station before, that they're probably the most misused medium out there. A lot of times people grab colored pencils and think that they need to be used in the same way as a graphite pencil when they're a completely different medium. They really are at their best when the artist uses layered applications and really builds up the colored pencil applications to a solid application as we're doing here. Once we've got some of those feathers in place, you can see the strong contrast that's created there, which really leads to the illusion of texture. We moved on to some of the stray feathers on the back edge of the bird, and these were some of the most interesting feathers on the bird, believe it or not, because of their larger shape and some of their neutral values that just had hints of color in them. So we used a little bit of sienna brown here, and of course our layered application of using dark umber, indigo blue, and 90% cool gray. Then on the bottom of the bird, it was the same process all over, just defining the darker areas, basically preserving the lighter areas before making those applications nice and solid. The talons were relatively simple here, a bit of orange, a bit of cream, and poppy red, with a little bit of shadow underneath with dark umber. And then of course we added the branch here in this process as well, starting with a little bit of a beige color, and then over the top a bit of cream and seashell pink as well. We added a little bit of green in the branch and sienna brown, of course, and our light source was originating from the left side in this drawing, which meant that most of the shadowed areas existed on the right side of the branch, and that's why you see those darker values there. And after a final burnish with a bit of seashell pink and a bit of cream, our colored pencil drawing of a kingfisher bird was complete. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, if you want to learn more about this particular course, you can even watch the first 2 modules for free. If you scroll down a little bit further, you can find a link in the description below that will take you to that page. If you want to learn more about our membership program, again, just scroll a little bit further down this page. You'll find a link down there as well. If you want to check out 3 of our course modules for free, which includes videos and ebooks, you can do that as well by clicking on the card in the corner or the link in the description below. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, what are you waiting for? We cover a broad variety of drawing and painting media here, as well as a broad variety of subjects. As always, I wish you the very best in your artistic success, and thanks again for watching.